losing belly fat is often easier than you might think. Most people waste time on various 30-day quick fixes, such as wearing waist trainers, taking weight loss pills, and following celebrity diets, without realizing that a flat stomach is the result of consistently making the right choices every day. To achieve this, you need to adopt the right actions daily, which is the most efficient path to success. First, set the right mindset. Many people seeking to lose belly fat are looking for quick, temporary solutions. You must understand that maintaining a healthy physique is a lifelong pursuit. Even if you achieve quick results through extreme methods, you can't maintain such extremes forever. Once you stop that unsustainable approach, you'll likely return to your previous state. Therefore, consider healthy fat loss methods as a long-term lifestyle, similar to brushing your teeth or bathing. This doesn't mean you can't have indulgent days or enjoy your favorite foods, nor do you need to go to the gym every day. But overall, maintaining a fit body should be a long-term principle rather than just a temporary goal. After reaching your desired weight, continue to manage your diet sensibly and adopt a new lifestyle to easily maintain your achievements. This is why you need to set up a dietary plan that fits your needs and can become a habit with minimal effort. Find your optimal fat loss intake, and you've discovered there are many foods you can enjoy. For example, check the macronutrients of your favorite foods and adjust your intake accordingly to avoid exceeding your caloric limit. Second, eat foods with low caloric density. The lower the density, the more you can eat for the same caloric intake. Therefore, single ingredient, natural foods are the best choice, as they address hunger issues. In contrast, highly processed foods are typically high in caloric density. Third, consume adequate protein. Protein is essential for body tissue and takes longer to digest, which helps you feel fuller and reduces unnecessary snacking. Fourth, eat more vegetables. They provide essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, and a large plate of high-fiber vegetables can satisfy your hunger and help control your caloric intake. Fifth, engage in strength training as much as possible each week. Muscle is more active than fat, so having more muscle means your body burns more calories and supports overall metabolism. You don't need to do strength training every day. Even walking for someone weighing 260 pounds counts as strength training. Your muscles grow stronger during rest. Sixth, include some aerobic exercise, such as walking or brisk walking, based on your current ability, but keep it under 60 minutes. Doing too much aerobic exercise while eating very little can deplete your energy quickly. Seventh, ensure you get 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. Adequate sleep is crucial for losing belly fat. Sleep affects hormone regulation, especially appetite and metabolism. Insufficient sleep can disrupt hormonal balance, increasing hunger and appetite. Focusing on caloric density can help effectively reduce belly fat. Here's a breakdown of how much food you can have for approximately 200 calories. Strawberries, about 2 cups, roughly 300 grams. Oranges, about 2 large oranges, roughly 300 grams. Watermelon, about 4 cups, roughly 600 grams. Vegetables, for example, spinach, kale, about 4 cups, roughly 400 grams. Zucchini, about 2 cups, roughly 300 grams. Mushrooms, about 2.5 cups, roughly 250 grams. Broccoli, about 2 cups, roughly 200 grams. Potatoes, about 1 medium potato, roughly 200 grams. Shrimp, about 200 grams. Beef, about 100 grams of lean beef. Most fruits, vegetables, and high-protein meats are low in caloric density. Conversely, foods like chocolate, desserts, pork floss cakes, ice cream, cheese, fried pork chops, and peanut butter are high in caloric density. During the fat loss phase, focusing on low caloric density foods is crucial because staying in a caloric deficit over time is the only way to shed stubborn fat. In simple terms, you need to eat less, and the feeling of fullness can help control intake. So, choosing low caloric density foods helps you feel fuller for the same amount of calories. Research shows that people who consume low caloric density foods end up eating fewer calories throughout the day compared to those eating high caloric density foods, because high caloric density foods lead to overconsumption. For example, 400 calories of Oreos will not satisfy you as much as 200 calories of strawberries. That's why high caloric density foods can lead to overeating. Your body burns a certain amount of calories to digest food, and high protein foods, like chicken breast, can burn 15% to 30% of their calories just during digestion, known as the thermic effect of food. Studies have shown that people on high-protein diets expend about 70 more calories per day compared to those on low-protein diets, and high-protein intake may also help prevent weight regain. Additionally, Around 20% to 30% of your diet should include fats to support cardiovascular health and hormone levels. Visceral fat can significantly impact health. A 2012 study found that all participants consumed the same amount of calories and identical protein, carbohydrates, and fats, but differed in the type of fat consumed. One group ate mostly saturated fats, for example, butter, while the other group's fats were primarily unsaturated, for example, from nuts and plant oils. After 10 weeks, despite similar body weights, the saturated fat group experienced a significant increase in visceral fat, while the unsaturated fat group lost a considerable amount of liver fat. Finally, diet sodas can be a useful tool during a fat loss phase. In experiments comparing water to diet sodas, those drinking diet sodas lost more fat, potentially because the water group might have inadvertently consumed more sweets. So keeping some diet sodas at home can be a good choice for when you crave something sweet without adding extra calories. If you're tight on time due to work or school, optimizing your workout efficiency is key. Here's a way to balance your training with a busy schedule and still see good results. Training for strength gains, you can achieve significant progress with minimal time commitment. Research suggests that performing 1 to 4 high-intensity resistance training sets per week can provide 81% of the strength benefits you get from more extensive training. So, if your goal is to boost your squat strength, you might only need to do 1 heavy set of squats, possibly followed by 1 or 2 lighter sets, twice a week. Training for health. For overall health benefits, a minimal amount of resistance training is sufficient. A 2022 meta-analysis found that doing 30 to 60 minutes of strength training per week could significantly reduce risks for cardiovascular disease, cancer, and diabetes. So, a few sessions each week, totaling around an hour, can improve your health substantially without requiring a huge time investment. Training for muscle growth. Muscle growth, or hypertrophy, is a bit more complex. Generally, higher training volumes are recommended. Beginners might need 10 sets per workout, while more advanced trainees might need at least 20 sets. However, studies show that even with lower volumes, you can achieve substantial muscle gains. For example, performing 1 to 4 sets per muscle group each week can still yield about 64% of the maximum possible gains compared to doing 10 sets. Efficiency in training. The key takeaway is that lower volume training can be quite effective if you're short on time. According to meta-analysis results, 5 to 9 sets per week can help you achieve about 84% of the maximum possible muscle growth benefits. For those with less time, focusing on high intensity, lower volume workouts can be an excellent strategy to balance work, study, and fitness. Practical tips: prioritize compound movements. Exercises like squats, deadlifts, and bench presses target multiple muscle groups, making your workout more efficient. Use supersets or circuits. Combining exercises back-to-back without rest can save time and keep your workout intense. Focus on high-intensity training. Short, intense workouts can be very effective for both strength and muscle growth. Plan ahead. Scheduling your workouts and making them a non-negotiable part of your week can help you stay consistent even with a busy schedule. Overall, if time is limited, aiming for shorter but intense and focused workouts can still provide excellent results. If you have more time available, maximizing your training volume can yield even better gains. Coffee, or more specifically, caffeine, can significantly enhance your exercise performance. And here's how it works. How caffeine works in your body. Adenosine receptor blockade. Caffeine is a powerful stimulant that blocks adenosine receptors in the brain. Adenosine is a neurotransmitter that promotes sleepiness. By blocking these receptors, caffeine reduces the feeling of tiredness and can boost alertness and focus. Enhanced performance. Caffeine has been shown to improve exercise performance, particularly in high-intensity activities like boxing, weightlifting, and sprinting. It may help you push past your usual limits and achieve new personal bests. Increase training capacity. Drinking coffee before a workout can enhance your training state by reducing fatigue and increasing concentration. This heightened focus might make it feel like your weights are lighter or your opponent slower. In strength training, you might find that you can handle more volume than usual, and in endurance exercises, you might be able to sustain effort for longer periods. Using caffeine effectively. Dosage. A typical cup of coffee contains about 100 mg of caffeine. For a stronger effect, you might choose a high caffeine coffee, like the Icona brand, which contains around 318 mg of caffeine per serving. This high level of caffeine can provide a significant boost but should be used cautiously. Considerations when drinking coffee. Avoid drinking on an empty stomach. Consuming strong coffee on an empty stomach can upset your digestive system, causing discomfort or nausea. It's a good idea to eat something before drinking coffee. Hydration. Coffee has diuretic properties, which means it can increase urination and potentially lead to dehydration. Even if you don't feel thirsty, ensure you drink plenty of water before and after your workout. Individual sensitivity. Everyone's response to caffeine varies. If you're new to caffeine or sensitive to it, start with a smaller dose or opt for other caffeinated beverages. Rest and recovery. Even though caffeine can temporarily enhance performance, it doesn't replace the need for rest. If you're genuinely fatigued, it's important to listen to your body and prioritize rest over trying to push through with caffeine. In summary, caffeine can be a powerful tool to boost exercise performance and focus, but it should be used wisely and in conjunction with good hydration and proper nutrition. The ketogenic diet is a low-carb, high-fat eating plan that has gained popularity for weight loss. Here's a brief overview. How the ketogenic diet works. Macronutrient ratio. The typical ketogenic diet consists of about 70% fat, 25% protein, and 5% carbohydrates. This drastic reduction in carbohydrate intake forces your body to use fat as its primary energy source. Ketosis. With low carb intake, your body depletes its glycogen stores and starts producing ketones from fats. Ketones serve as an alternative fuel source. The transition to this state can cause some initial discomfort, known as the keto flu, which includes symptoms like fatigue, headaches, dizziness, and nausea. Adaptation. After the initial adjustment period, many people report improved energy levels, decreased appetite, and more consistent weight loss. However, the rapid initial weight loss is often due to water loss, and weight loss may slow down over time. Benefits and risks. Weight loss. The ketogenic diet can be effective for quick weight loss and has been shown to help some people burn more fat during exercise. Side effects. Common side effects include dehydration, electrolyte imbalances, and bad breath, which can smell fruity or like nail polish remover due to ketone production. These side effects can usually be managed by drinking plenty of water and replenishing electrolytes. Considerations. Performance. For strength training and high-intensity workouts, carbohydrates are a crucial energy source, and a ketogenic diet might impair performance in these areas. Long-term health. There is some concern that ketogenic diet might increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases due to its high fat content. Medical supervision. If you decide to try a ketogenic diet, it's advisable to do so under the guidance of a healthcare professional to monitor any potential health impacts. Conclusion. The ketogenic diet can be effective for weight loss, particularly in the short term. However, it may not be suitable for everyone, especially those involved in high-intensity sports or those with concerns about long-term cardiovascular health. If you choose to try it, ensure you have professional guidance and monitor your health closely. Protein powder is a valuable supplement for anyone focused on fitness and muscle growth. Here's a breakdown of the different types and their characteristics. Types of protein powder. Whey protein. Whey concentrate contains 35%, 80% protein with higher levels of lactose, carbohydrates, and fats. It's more affordable but may not be suitable for those with lactose intolerance. Whey isolate contains 90% or more protein with minimal lactose, carbohydrates, and fats. It's more expensive but is a better option for those who are lactose intolerant or looking for a pure protein source. Whey hydrolysate. This is whey concentrate that has been partially broken down through hydrolysis. It digests faster and is easier on the stomach, though it might have a less pleasant taste. Casein protein. Casein digests slowly compared to whey, making it a good option for sustained protein release, such as before bedtime. It contains slightly less leucine than whey, but is still a high-quality protein. Comparison of proteins. Whey protein concentrate. Think of it as chicken thighs. High in protein but with extra fats and calories. Whey protein isolate. Like skinless chicken thighs. High protein content, lower in fats and calories. Whey protein hydrolysate. Similar to finely shredded chicken breast. Easy to digest and absorb, but might not taste as good. Choosing the right protein powder. Quality and ingredients. Look for high-quality ingredients and good manufacturing practices. For example, proteins like for yes with high protein content and refined processing can provide a smoother taste and better solubility. Personal needs. Lactose intolerance. Opt for whey isolate or hydrolysate. Budget. Whey concentrate is usually more cost-effective. Digestibility. Hydrolysate might be better if you have digestive issues. In summary, Whey protein isolate is often the best choice for its high protein content and low levels of fats and lactose. However, your choice should also depend on your individual needs, such as taste preferences, budget, and digestive tolerance. Higher testosterone levels not only enhance your physical strength and muscle quality but also improve exercise performance, energy levels, and mood. Additionally, the normal range of testosterone levels varies greatly among individuals, with the highest values being nearly 3 times the lowest. So how can we naturally reach the top of our natural testosterone levels or avoid common mistakes? Here are some key strategies. 1. Train hard. Research insight. According to a 2012 study, people who are physically active have higher testosterone levels than sedentary individuals. The harder you train, the more your testosterone levels increase, as the hormonal response to exercise is significantly influenced by the intensity of the training. For example, in a study on endurance training, testosterone levels increased linearly in non-athletes with increasing training intensity, while athletes only showed significant effects at very high intensities. Essentially, pushing yourself harder in training can help you reach a new level. 2. Maintain a healthy body fat percentage. Body fat and testosterone. Obesity is associated with lower testosterone levels. Obese men have testosterone levels that are 40% to 50% lower than lean men. A review and meta-analysis of 24 studies concluded that body fat percentage is the best predictor of increased testosterone levels. Therefore, having too low of a body fat percentage can also be harmful. Ideally, maintain a body fat percentage between 10% and 15% to ensure optimal hormone levels without excessively restricting caloric intake. 3. Optimize vitamin D levels. Vitamin D's role. Vitamin D receptors are present in the reproductive tissues where testosterone is synthesized. Therefore, maintaining optimal vitamin D levels is crucial for maximizing testosterone production. Many studies consistently show that vitamin D deficiency is associated with lower testosterone levels. For instance, supplementing with vitamin D has been shown to increase testosterone levels by 25%. While the placebo group showed no significant change. 4. Supplement with zinc and magnesium. Zinc deficiency can lead to reduced testosterone levels. Supplementing with zinc has been shown to increase testosterone levels significantly in deficient individuals, with an increase of nearly 94%. Conversely, zinc deficiency in normally adequate individuals can cause a 74% decrease in testosterone levels. Magnesium supplementation has also been associated with increased testosterone levels. Studies indicate that magnesium supplementation can lead to notable improvements in testosterone. 5. Ensure adequate sleep. Sleep and testosterone. There is a strong relationship between sleep and testosterone levels. Men who sleep 6 hours or less have significantly lower testosterone levels compared to those who get 8 hours of sleep. Research involving 2,300 men found that for each hour of sleep lost, testosterone levels can decrease by 0.6% to 2%. Additionally, a 2011 study found that young men who slept only 5 hours a night for 7 days experienced a 10% to 15% drop in testosterone levels. Ideally, aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night. These natural strategies can help you achieve and maintain healthy testosterone levels, improving overall health and performance. If you have specific health concerns, consulting a healthcare professional is recommended. Even if you're sweating it out at the gym, if you neglect your diet, you might end up like a paper wrap machine, far from the dream physique you're aiming for. Let's review some common dietary mistakes to see if you've fallen into any of these traps. Make sure to check yourself against these points. Eating small, frequent meals. Some people believe that eating small amounts throughout the day, often 5 to 6 meals, can boost metabolism. But does it really make a difference? Meta-analyses show that the impact of eating smaller, frequent meals versus fewer, larger meals on daily calorie expenditure is negligible. In other words, how often you eat or how much you eat per meal doesn't matter as long as your total caloric intake is fixed. Your metabolism and body response remain consistent. Overcomplicating weight loss. Weight loss is actually quite simple. You just need to burn more calories than you consume. The specifics, like whether to eat organic vegetables or not, or if broccoli is better than cauliflower, or whether to eat red or white meat, don't really matter. Focus on creating a calorie deficit and combine it with strength training and high protein intake for fat loss. Make sure to include plenty of meat, eggs, and dairy in your diet, and if necessary, use protein powders. If you're not losing fat, it's unlikely due to factors like the type of food, it's more likely you're not maintaining a proper caloric deficit. Clean eating misconceptions. Eating clean doesn't mean you can eat as much as you want just because the food is clean. Some people use clean eating as an excuse to overeat, thinking that as long as the food is clean, quantity doesn't matter. But the principle remains the same. Overconsumption of calories can still lead to weight gain. Fruit myths. Don't fall for the myth that fruit is always a healthy choice without considering its calorie and sugar content. Everything we eat boils down to calories, proteins, and fats. Whether it's rice, pasta, meat, or fruit, it's just a different form of energy. Be mindful of the caloric and sugar content of fruits. Relying on feelings for dietary judgments. Judging your diet based on how you feel can lead to underestimating or overestimating your calorie intake. The correct approach is to check food labels, plan your meals in advance, and track your daily intake. Using a food scale and a tracking app helps you know exactly how many calories you're consuming. It may seem tedious at first, but once you gain experience, you'll be able to estimate your intake accurately without weighing food. Experience helps train your intuition, especially if you eat the same foods regularly. If others have started out overweight, but you follow the 5 steps I'm about to outline, you can get back to your ideal version. Here's the guidance. Step 1. Progressive strength training. The only truth for muscle growth is progressive strength training. Focus on compound exercises like squats, bench presses, deadlifts, pull-ups, rowing, and shoulder presses. Don't train your entire body on the same day. It will be overwhelming. If you have enough time, use a 3-day split, training each muscle group twice a week. If not, consider a 4-day or 5-day split, training each muscle group once a week. Choose a weight you can lift at least 6 times. Try to increase the reps each session, 7, 8, 9, 10. Once you can comfortably do 9 reps, increase the weight. Repeat this process to steadily increase strength, endurance, and muscle mass, leading to a better physique and a higher metabolism. Step 2. Daily caloric intake. Consume 110% of your basal metabolic rate BMR calories daily. If you don't know your BMR, use a BMR calculator. For example, if your BMR is 2,500 calories, you should eat 2,750 calories daily. Out of these 2,750 calories, you need 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. If you weigh 100 kilograms, that means 150 grams of protein, which accounts for 600 calories. Additionally, you should get at least 20%-30% of your calories from fat, as fats are crucial for hormones like testosterone. The remaining calories should come from carbohydrates to ensure good training quality and emotional stability. Step 3. Track your intake. Monitor your intake of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Whether you eat rice, steamed buns, noodles, sweet potatoes, corn, beef, eggs, hot pot, grilled meat, or pig trotters, it's all about balancing carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Make sure your calorie intake and macronutrient ratios match your goals. Energy balance is key. Step 4. Recalculate your diet. Many people wonder why their weight stops changing after losing a certain amount. If you've been following the first 3 steps well, you might reach this stage because your calorie needs decrease as your weight drops. For example, losing 20 pounds will reduce the calories you burn while climbing stairs. Use a BMR calculator to adjust your caloric intake and repeat the previous steps. If you still have questions, feel free to message me. Whether you're aiming to build muscle or lose fat, consuming sufficient protein will make your efforts more effective. Even if you indulge or slack off in training, protein can help mitigate the impact. However, many people mistakenly believe that only protein is important while fat and carbohydrates should be minimized. This is misleading and can lead to issues with fat gain and overall performance. Here are some key points. Protein's role in misconceptions. High protein intake is crucial, but overemphasis on protein while neglecting fats and carbohydrates can lead to problems. For example, protein bars that are high in protein often contain a lot of carbohydrates and fats, which can lead to excessive calorie intake and weight gain. High-quality protein powders are a better option. For instance, Fuzz offers 16 grams of protein with reduced fat content 3. Freegan includes a protein matrix and high leucine content, essential for muscle growth, without adding extra burden through complex flavors or processing. Protein recommendations. The daily recommended protein intake varies based on different groups of people. Protein helps manage hunger, increase muscle mass, and has a higher thermic effect compared to carbohydrates and fats. However, Consuming excessive protein can still lead to weight gain if it exceeds your total daily caloric expenditure. The body will convert excess amino acids into glucose, similar to how it converts carbohydrates, and excess glucose can be converted into fatty acids and triglycerides, leading to fat accumulation. Balance is key. Despite protein's benefits, it's not the preferred energy source for the body. A diet overly focused on high protein with low carbohydrates and fats can decrease your training quality, especially for anaerobic activities that rely on carbohydrates. Proper fat intake is also essential for maintaining testosterone levels and brain function. Consuming less than 20% of your total daily intake from fats can negatively impact muscle growth and fat loss. Additionally, your brain needs adequate fatty acids to avoid cognitive issues. Effects of inadequate protein intake. If you consume too little protein, you may experience increased hunger and a larger appetite, leading to excessive calorie intake. Protein is crucial for muscle growth and maintenance, and insufficient intake can lead to muscle loss and a slower metabolism, resulting in a tendency to gain weight more easily. Overall, a balanced diet that includes adequate protein, fats, and carbohydrates is essential for effective muscle building and fat loss. Walking is perhaps the most accessible form of exercise, yet it's often overlooked when people are focused on weight loss or fat reduction. Despite its simplicity, walking can effectively help burn fat and maintain a healthy weight. Here's a look at why walking is more beneficial than many realize. Increased caloric expenditure. Adding a walking routine can significantly increase your daily caloric expenditure. For example, a 1-hour walk can burn approximately 400 calories. A year-long study found that participants who increased their daily steps by 1,000 without any dietary changes improved their leg strength, blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and even lost weight, including some visceral fat, and improved body composition. Unique advantages. Relaxed and low pressure. Walking is a low-impact activity, making it ideal for those recovering from injuries or older adults with minimal risk of injury. Weight-friendly. It's a simple and low-decision cost exercise, meaning you don't need to commit heavily or face barriers to get started. It's easy to fit into any schedule. Complementary to high-intensity training. High-intensity strength training can lead to neural fatigue and training burnout. Walking offers a low-intensity recovery option, helping to alleviate muscle soreness and enhance recovery without compromising the quality of future workouts. Accessibility and flexibility. One of the biggest benefits of walking is that it's free and requires no special equipment. You can walk anywhere, anytime, without needing a gym or pool, making it a convenient option for many people. Incorporating walking into your daily routine can complement your other fitness efforts, support weight management, and improve overall well-being. When deciding whether to focus on muscle gain or fat loss, it's helpful to assess which of the following categories you fall into. Beginners. If you're new to training and have a lot of room for improvement, you can both build muscle and lose fat simultaneously through a calorie deficit. Simply put, if you're new to strength training, you're starting from a relatively lower level of muscle development. High body fat. If you have a substantial amount of body fat, you likely have enough energy reserves to support muscle growth even if you're in a slight calorie deficit. Your body can use existing fat stores to fuel muscle gains. Experienced lifters. If you've been training for a while and are working to regain lost muscle memory, you can build muscle while losing fat. If you're not in these categories, you can use BMI as a guide. If your BMI is over 24, focus on fat loss. If it's under 24, prioritize muscle gain. Steps to take. Determine your caloric intake. For muscle gain, aim for a slight caloric surplus, about 100 calories more than your daily expenditure. This small surplus is usually enough to build muscle without significantly increasing body fat, and if you have a high activity level, you might even see some fat loss. For fat loss, your caloric intake should be 20% 30% less than your daily expenditure. This deficit will use fat reserves to meet energy needs, including those required for muscle growth. Set macronutrient ratios. Protein. Consume about 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. Protein is crucial for muscle repair and growth. Carbohydrates and fats. If you're on a low-carb diet, increase fat intake. Conversely, if you're eating more carbs, reduce fat intake. Adjust these ratios based on your diet preferences and goals. Follow progressive training. Increase weights gradually to ensure you're consistently challenging your muscles. The key to muscle growth is maintaining high and sustained mechanical tension. Avoid doing the same routine repeatedly. Cardio. While not essential, cardio can be beneficial. If you dislike cardio and have strict dietary control, you might not need additional calorie expenditure from cardio. Prioritize sleep. Quality sleep is crucial for muscle recovery and overall progress. Research indicates that a reduction of 40 minutes in sleep per night can increase muscle loss rates by 20% to 80%. Ensure you get adequate sleep to see better results from your efforts. Feel free to reach out if you have more questions. Good luck with your fitness journey. Determining your upper limit in natural bodybuilding involves considering several factors, with genetics being a key determinant. Here's a breakdown of how to understand and approach your potential. Genetics and bone structure. Genetics. Your genetic makeup plays a crucial role in muscle growth potential. Those with favorable muscle building genes can achieve more significant results with less effort. While genetics are important, they don't replace the need for proper diet, training, and sleep. Bone structure. A larger bone structure can support more muscle growth. Research shows that individuals with larger bones and joints often have greater muscle development. World-class bodybuilders and powerlifters typically have larger frames, predicting muscle growth potential. Height and body measurements. Some formulas use your height, ankle circumference, and body fat percentage to estimate muscle growth potential. Online tools and websites can help with these calculations. Birth weight. Studies suggest that high birth weight correlates with more developed muscles in adulthood. If you were a larger baby, you might have a greater potential for muscle growth. Finger ratios. A shorter index finger compared to the ring finger can indicate higher exposure to testosterone during development, which is associated with greater athletic potential. You can measure and compare these ratios as a rough estimate of potential. Effort over genetics. Regardless of genetic advantages or limitations, consistent effort in the gym and kitchen will help you maximize your potential. Focus on doing the right things consistently, and you can reach the peak of your genetic potential. Personal goals. Fitness is a personal journey. Comparing yourself to others can be counterproductive. Focus on being the best version of yourself and use your unique characteristics and efforts to reach your goals. Leverage your strengths. If you have strong genetic advantages, make sure to leverage them through discipline, training, and nutrition. Don't waste the opportunity. Use your natural gifts to their fullest potential. Ultimately, while genetics provide a baseline, your dedication and hard work are the most significant factors in achieving success in bodybuilding. Keep pushing and focusing on your own progress, and you'll reach your personal best. Why is belly fat so stubborn and hard to lose? What should you do about it? Practical advice is here. Many people have lost a lot of fat, but their abs still haven't shown up. That's because losing belly fat requires extra effort, significantly extra effort. When you gain weight, belly fat is often the first thing you notice, but it's the last to go when you lose weight. This is because the abdomen houses many important organs, and our bodies store energy here to handle emergencies. In other words, the fat here is essential for survival. Therefore, the fat cells in the abdomen, compared to other fat cells, have more alpha receptors for adrenaline, signaling the body to keep this emergency fund intact. This makes it particularly difficult to shed belly fat. The heartbreaking reality is that when you think you've lost a lot of fat, your belly may have only shrunk slightly. Although your body is burning fat overall, the abdominal fat only contributes symbolically to the effort. As you progress from being overweight to being less overweight or even lean, most of the fat loss occurs in other areas: your face, arms, and legs. The threshold for significant belly changes starts when your body fat percentage approaches 15%. Once you cross this threshold, your fat loss will be more evident in your abdomen. Your abs will soon say hello because your body will have no other choice but to use this emergency fund. From around 17% to 11% body fat is when you see the most reduction in belly fat. So, if you're currently on a fat loss journey but are frustrated because your belly hasn't changed much, the key is to remain patient. Besides subcutaneous fat, the abdomen also contains a lot of visceral fat. If you don't have much muscle mass, it's hard to achieve a firm look. That's why some people weigh only 120 pounds but still have a protruding belly. The benefits of strength training are countless, truly endless. Training all your major muscle groups will also work your core. Avoid doing too much cardio. If your shoulders get broader, even if your waist circumference stays the same, your belly will look slimmer. Looking slim is enough. Looking good is a feeling. You might ask yourself, can I build muscle while getting leaner? Of course, you can. More details are in episode 4. For some people, getting a bit leaner isn't enough. They want defined abs, which requires even more effort, with drinking alcohol being the first thing to go. Specific details are in episode 11. If you reached a healthy weight but your abs still haven't appeared, it's time to change your eating habits. Although you've probably been controlling your diet, If you want six-pack abs, there's still a lot you can improve. I recommend tracking your intake and expenditure. The specific method is in episode 15, and recording your waist circumference and weight. This way, you can fully control your fat loss progress. When you stop making progress, you can take timely measures, such as increasing training intensity or volume, or reducing intake. Most importantly, you need to understand that fat loss is not a linear process. You encounter plateaus and slow progress, and that's normal. At this point, you can return to a regular diet for 4-7 days, giving your body a break. It's all about a gentle approach, advancing by retreating. When you finally reach the finish line and see your six-pack, remember that even if you have abs, they might not be visible in poor lighting, or you might still see a layer of fat when bending over or sitting down. So don't be too harsh on yourself. You've already done it. A lot of brothers and sisters have messaged me saying, I've been working out and controlling my diet, and I was losing weight quickly at first, but recently it's stalled. What's going on? Okay, today we're going to dig into what's really happening. Like, share, and follow, and grab a cup because we're going to talk about how much you should really be eating to keep losing fat. This episode is all practical advice, no theory. So take notes. There's only one reason why you're not losing weight anymore. You no longer have a calorie deficit. So, how do you calculate your calorie deficit? A lot of people have told me that the formulas online are all over the place and super complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Just open a browser and search for a basal metabolic rate BMR calculator. Enter your gender, age, height, and weight. Click calculate, and you get your BMR. For example, let's take Zion Newell, a 20-year-old guy who's 1.85 meters tall and weighs 110 kilograms. Zion Newell's BMR would be 2,162. Then, based on his daily activity level, you use the activity factor list below and multiply it by his BMR to get his total daily energy expenditure T. For instance, if Zion Newell does one strength session and one cardio session in a day, multiplying by 1.5 is pretty appropriate, making his total expenditure 3,300 calories. Now, if you still can't figure out your calorie deficit, I really need to get 3 trucks to help you out. As long as Zion Newell eats fewer than 3,300 calories, he'll lose weight. But Zion Newell is very impatient and likes fast results, so he only eats 1,000 calories a day, creating a 2,300 calorie deficit. This goes back to what I said at the start. After losing weight for a while, it stops. Why? Because Zion Newell is eating too little, and his BMR drops significantly too. When it drops to 1,000, he no longer has a calorie deficit. Plus, when people diet like this, they bounce back as soon as they start eating normally again. It's unsustainable. So, what's the most reasonable amount to eat to keep making progress? There's a rule. Don't eat less than your BMR unless you're an athlete who needs to compete next week. So, for Zion Newell to lose fat at the fastest possible rate, he should eat 2,200 calories. This still gives him an 1,100 calorie deficit. This also applies to the exception group I mentioned in the last episode. If you're particularly tall or heavy, you can lose weight quickly while staying safe and sustainable. Another situation is for those who haven't taken extreme measures. Let's use Zion Newell as an example again. After losing 15 kilograms, he hits a normal plateau. Given his new condition, does his BMR still stay at 2,162? Let's recalculate. It's now only 2,000. If he keeps eating the same amount as before, he won't lose weight anymore. At this point, I believe anyone who has gone through basic education should understand, at least in terms of losing weight, there should be no more questions. If you're not losing weight, there's only one reason: you don't have a calorie deficit. And there are only 2 reasons why you don't have a calorie deficit. First, you're eating too much and breaking even with your total expenditure. Second, you're eating too little and your BMR has plummeted. Okay, you should now know how much you should be eating, but we haven't solved what and how to eat yet. Those who have watched my previous videos should know that you need to get enough protein. Right here, I recommend a golden ratio for those without systematic training experience. 5 parts carbs, 3 parts protein, 2 parts fat. Due to time constraints, that's all for today's video. I'll discuss more efficient ratios in the next one. Like, share, and follow. Do you know your body type? Some people can drink alcohol every day and still lose weight, while others gain weight just by eating a little. Like, share, and follow. And let's talk about what your body type is and how to make the fastest progress. In 1940, An American psychologist proposed that human bodies can be categorized into three main somatotypes: ectomorph, endomorph, and mesomorph. Now, some data from Russia has shown that body type analysis can predict which somatotype can achieve above average performance in specific sports. For example, in basketball, mesomorphs tend to perform better because the sport requires speed, jumping, and physical contact. In a 2005 study, untrained participants were put through a 4-month arm training regimen. The researchers found significant differences. The least responsive individuals only increased their muscle mass by 5%, while the most responsive increased theirs by about 55%. In another study, participants overate by 1,000 calories per day, and after 8 weeks, the range of fat gain was from 0.3 kilogram to 4.2 kilogram, fully demonstrating the significant differences caused by different body types. Ectomorph. These individuals are generally slim and tall, often considered ideal for combat sports. They are the lucky ones who can eat whatever they want without gaining abdominal fat, but they also find it hardest to build muscle. Therefore, they need to put in extra effort in strength training. Luckily, they can always turn to food for comfort. Endomorph. This body type is the complete opposite of ectomorphs. Endomorphs have solid builds and easily gain weight, so they need to be extra cautious with their diet to avoid weight gain. They are always either on a diet or about to start one. However, they possess an exceptional ability to gain muscle, making them the most powerful in terms of absolute strength among all body types. Many successful strongmen and powerlifters are endomorphs. Mesomorph. Finally, we have the fortunate mesomorphs, who possess a perfect balance of muscle and fat and the ability to quickly alter their body composition. They find it easier to build muscle than ectomorphs and easier to lose fat than endomorphs. For ectomorphs, if you have this body type, losing weight is not an issue. However, if you want to evolve into a lean physique, you must significantly increase your protein intake, much more than before, because your metabolism is faster than average and you need more nutrients to feed your muscles. Focus on eating plenty of protein and carbohydrates. Your training should involve compound movements like deadlifts, squats, and bench presses to develop overall muscle quickly and easily, while avoiding bodybuilding style isolation exercises. Cardio isn't your concern, you're already so lean. For endomorphs, snacks and sugary drinks are off limits. Natural foods are your best bet. You need to recognize that weight loss is the hardest for your body type, but you don't need to weld yourself to the treadmill. Don't forget that you have the strongest muscle building potential, and muscle can boost your metabolism, making fat loss easier. A low-carb, high-protein diet is your best option. For mesomorphs, congratulations, you have the easiest body type to train. Look at the envy and jealousy on other people's faces. So don't waste the great physique your parents gave you. Even though you won the genetic lottery, you can still make yourself better. Stop slacking off. Whether it's strength training or cardio, with your natural endurance and strength, you should easily handle goal-oriented high-intensity training. Alright, I won't say more. I'm extremely envious. As for your diet, you can be more relaxed because you don't need to overeat or be overly cautious. Just keep your calorie intake around 2,500 and you're good to go. So, which one are you? My dear viewers, please tell me in the comments. If you learned something new today, could you give me a follow? To improve the condition of individuals who are slim but have belly fat, often called skinny fat, here's a step-by-step guide. Plan strength training. Systematic training. Focus on structured, higher intensity strength training rather than low intensity workouts. Since your body weight is relatively low, your muscles need a stronger stimulus to grow. Don't worry if your weight increases slightly. Muscle weighs more but takes up less space than fat, so your body will look slimmer as you build muscle. This will also improve your metabolism, which can help reduce belly fat. Track your progress with photos and measurements rather than relying solely on the scale. Track your diet. Just because your weight is normal doesn't mean you can eat anything without consequences. Carefully track your calorie intake because your margin for error is smaller than for someone with a higher body weight. To make this easier, try to eat foods with clear calorie labels. Use a food scale regularly to get accustomed to portion sizes, which will help you stay on track. If you can't precisely measure your food, such as during social events or cafeteria meals, make your best estimate and don't stress over occasional inaccuracies. Avoid perfectionism to prevent burnout. Increase protein intake. Higher protein intake is crucial to support your training. Protein helps build and repair muscles, which is essential when you're aiming to improve body composition. Gradually increase calorie intake. Increase your calorie intake slowly to avoid gaining fat. Systematic strength training will increase your lean body mass, so raising your calorie intake cautiously will help you gain muscle without adding fat. As you progress in your training, your carbohydrate intake should also increase to fuel your workouts. With muscle gain and stable fat levels, your body fat percentage will decrease, leading to the physique you desire. By following these steps, you can effectively transform your body, improving both your appearance and overall health. If you want to achieve a more refined, model-like face, here are the 3 key factors to focus on. Body fat reduction. The first step is understanding that reducing body fat, not just weight, is essential for a slimmer face. For instance, if 2 people with the same weight and body fat percentage aim to lose 20 pounds for a slimmer face, the approach they take matters. Contestant 1 might choose to cut a lot of calories quickly, shedding 20 pounds in a short time. In contrast, contestant 2 takes a more systematic approach, losing weight slowly while eating a protein-rich, clean diet combined with cardio and resistance training. Although contestant 2 takes a few more months to lose the same amount of weight, they will look better in the end. Why? Because the slow approach allows the body to adapt, maintaining lean muscle mass and giving the face a more defined and healthier appearance. Rapid weight loss without proper nutrition can leave your face looking gaunt and unhealthy. Skincare routine. Healthy, tight, and wrinkle-free skin is crucial for a refined appearance. For men, a simple skincare routine includes cleansing, moisturizing, and applying a bit of oil. The most important part is identifying your skin type. You can do this by trying a bare face test. Thoroughly cleanse your face with a gentle cleanser. Let it air dry for 1-2 hours, and then observe how your skin feels. If it feels tight and flaky, you have dry skin. If it's shiny and oily, you have oily skin. If your T-zone forehead, nose, and chin is oily but other areas are dry, you have combination skin. Once you know your skin type, choosing the right products will put you ahead of 90% of men. Facial muscle exercises. Your facial muscles provide the framework for your face and skin. Without them, your face loses shape and can appear saggy. A well-defined facial structure, combined with a lean physique and radiant skin, works wonders. Simple facial exercises can be very effective. These exercises include actions like puckering your lips, inflating your cheeks, and pressing against your fingers for resistance training. Doing these exercises at least 3 times a week can keep your facial muscles in good shape, making your face look more structured and, ultimately, more handsome. By following these steps, focused fat reduction, proper skincare, and regular facial muscle exercises, you can make noticeable improvements to your facial. If you've been browsing Darwin, you might be familiar with the term cortisol. Whether it's insomnia, poor sleep quality, weight gain, acne breakouts, or fatigue, they can all be blamed on elevated cortisol levels. Cortisol is also known as the stress hormone. When we deal with stress, cortisol is produced. Whether it's a sudden bear charging at you during a walk or a flood of messages in your work group chat, your body releases cortisol to raise blood sugar levels, regulate blood pressure, and manage metabolism, helping you cope with life's challenges. So if there's an issue, it's best to get it checked out. Cortisol might not be the actual culprit. Our cortisol levels are highest in the morning, which is why our minds are clearest and our work efficiency is highest. But if your cortisol levels remain high at night, that's problematic. It can lead to overeating, insomnia, anxiety, emotional instability, and fat accumulation in the abdomen. The main reason is the immense pressure we face today. Academic pressures, survival, relationships, childbearing, mortgages, work, self-identity, and others' expectations. It's easy to feel overwhelmed. This elevated cortisol level caused by high stress isn't something you can fix just by taking supplements. Here are some solutions. Adjust your mindset. I'm not here to give you a pep talk. The book The Awakening of Thought mentions that your negative emotions stem from a narrow perspective. For example, everyone wants to lose weight and have a good-looking body, but being overweight isn't necessarily bad. You've probably seen the news about the 300-pound beauty who fell and fractured her neck. So, let me strongly recommend a winning mindset. Everything that happens benefits me. I couldn't find a suitable job in the first half of this year. Most people would consider that terrible, but I saw it as an opportunity to work out and create videos, which is why you can now see my content on Darwin. There's also an artist, Franklin Zinkson, who only has one hand. People might think he should be crying under the covers, but he says his shortcomings actually bring him greater recognition. So, my dear brother, no matter what difficulties you're facing, they are merely stepping stones to your coronation as a king. Try it, you'll find that the things or people you hate will hardly affect your mood once your mindset is as steady as an old dog. At that point, little cortisol will naturally retreat. Identity recognition in the inner struggle. Many people dislike LeBron James, but why can't King James, at 40 years old, still dominate the Olympics? Why does FIBA even tweet with a crown? Besides having the most elite physical talents in NBA history, LeBron also calls himself the chosen one. The book Driven by Cognition divides people into 6 levels. The third level is environment. If things don't go well, it's the environment's fault. Bad luck, teachers targeting me, bosses exploiting me. The second level is behavior. I just work hard and leave the rest to fate. Like dieting, losing 30 pounds in a month, then gaining it all back. The third level is ability. No longer just working hard, but realizing that finding a scientific method leads to more efficient results, yet becoming the kind of person who understands all the principles but does nothing. The fourth level is beliefs and values, understanding what's important and what's more important, and actively optimizing your choices. The fifth level is self-awareness, realizing what kind of person I am and what kind of things I should be doing, thinking from an identity perspective where everything you need, including choices, efforts, methods, and values, serve your identity. The sixth level is mission. This is the true driving force of great people, the most brilliant stars in history. Reflect on which level you are at and reevaluate where you want to be in the future. Back to LeBron. We can easily understand why he is so extraordinary. His achievements are inevitable because he is the chosen one. While we may not be the chosen one, we can at least instill a high-level identity within ourselves. And from then on, stop viewing setbacks from a weak perspective, eliminating inner struggles effortlessly. Take some vitamin B. Insomnia is often caused by an overactive parasympathetic nervous system and insufficient melatonin secretion. Bone, B6, and B12 help the brain secrete melatonin, aiding sleep, and B12 can also nourish the nerves. Moderate aerobic exercise, more than 30 minutes of brisk walking, swimming, or cycling can release dopamine and endorphins in the brain, reducing stress and lowering cortisol levels. Protein intake for men before bed. Massage for women, if possible. A couple's massage would be even better. Mindful meditation. For specific methods, I recommend the book The Process of Change by Joe Dispenza. Supplement carbohydrates after strength training. If you regularly eat these foods, it's really hard not to lose fat. You'll naturally reduce your hunger and increase your fat burning efficiency. Here's a breakdown of these foods. Eggs. Eggs are high in protein and very filling. Digesting protein boosts your metabolism due to what's known as the thermic effect of food, meaning you don't absorb all the calories from eggs. A significant portion is burned off during digestion. Eggs are considered the greatest source of protein, with the biological value of 94, the highest among all foods. The biological value represents how efficiently your body can use the protein from the food. Salmon, with an exceptional taste, rich protein content, and omega-3 fatty acids including EPA and DHA. Salmon can effectively lower triglyceride levels. Its only downside is the price, but it's worth it. Celery, one of the lowest calorie foods because it's composed of 95% water. Celery is rich in potassium, calcium, magnesium, and various antioxidants. 0-calorie sauces. Make sure the label says 0 calories. While it might be tough, you don't need to rely on plain boiled food for fat loss. Fat loss requires a calorie deficit, not emotional fulfillment. Pairing hot sauce with celery can make even potatoes tasty. Zucchini. Zucchini can be your pasta alternative, almost like Italian noodles. Cauliflower. Cauliflower is high in dietary fiber. If you've already met your carb intake for the day but are still hungry, cauliflower is a great option. Dietary fiber is essentially calorie neutral as you eat it, and it comes out the same way, filling you up without adding calories. Watermelon. With 90% water content, 100 grams of watermelon contains only 30 calories. Eating watermelon also supplies arginine, which aids in protein synthesis. If you eat the rind, you also get citrulline. Cucumber. Cucumber is almost entirely water, making it a good option if you're feeling hungry. Various seasonings. While my followers might not get to enjoy luxurious meals, they absolutely shouldn't endure bland food. When it comes to your diet, tasty or not, the calories are similar. Seasonings have almost no calories and can make your meals enjoyable, helping you stick to your fat loss plan. Eating plain boiled chicken breast every day. How long can you really keep that up, my friend? To effectively control your appetite and ensure that your efforts don't go to waste, I've summarized 6 immediate strategies. Drink coffee. Coffee can effectively reduce appetite because it enhances fat function, preserving glycogen longer. As a result, you take longer to crave carbs. Just make sure not to add milk or sugar. A 70% sugar latte would defeat the purpose. Keep yourself busy. When you're focused, research shows that your appetite decreases. Immersing yourself in a main task not only keeps you from feeling hungry but also allows you to be more productive. Why not make the most of it? Consume enough protein. Protein can definitely help you fight off hunger and increase feelings of fullness. Eating meat is a good strategy, but if you're short on time or can't consume much, I recommend Convita Whey Yogurt. It's endorsed by Sushen Luis Suarez, made in-house, researched, and produced by their own factory, so you can trust it. Drink more water. This affects how your body perceives hunger. In a study where 50 overweight participants drank 500 milliliters of water before meals in addition to their regular water intake, results showed that they experienced reduced appetite and lost weight. Maintain a regular eating schedule. Irregular eating times make appetite harder to control because your body constantly tries to adapt to your meal times. If you eat breakfast at the same time every day, your body will begin to feel hungry at that time like clockwork. This also means you won't feel as hungry during periods when you're not eating. To control your diet, try to eat at the same times each day. Limit social media use. When we get stressed by unrealistic expectations on social media, our brains and bodies start seeking more dopamine. The easiest way to get that is often by eating junk food. By reducing stress sources, you can lower the chances of emotional overeating. Don't get lost in other people's highlight reels. They are just curated moments for you to see. Creatine, one of the most well-known and widely used class supplements, has several benefits and plays a specific role in our bodies. Here's how creatine works and what changes occur in the body when supplementing with it. How creatine works in the body. Natural presence. Your body naturally produces about 1 gram of creatine daily, and it is already present in your muscles. Creatine is also found in high-protein foods like meat. Supplementing with creatine aims to maximize the creatine stores in your muscles, a process that typically takes over 7 days. Energy provision. Creatine primarily supports muscle energy, especially in high-intensity, short-duration activities like sprinting, weightlifting, and boxing. This involves ATP adenosine triphosphate, which is the energy currency for our cells. During intense exercise, ATP is quickly depleted, and this is where creatine comes into play. Creatine and ATP regeneration. Your body stores creatine in muscle cells as a reserve energy source. During intense exercise, when ATP is used up and converted into ADP adenosine diphosphate, the stored creatine helps rapidly convert ADP back into ATP, allowing you to continue your high-intensity workout. This quick ATP replenishment enables your muscles to keep working, delaying fatigue and enhancing endurance. Creatine loading phase. When you start supplementing, it's recommended to take 20-25 grams of creatine daily for the first week, divided into 4 doses. Although this seems like a lot, your muscle cells act like sponges during this phase, absorbing and storing most of the additional creatine. After a week, your muscles should be fully saturated with creatine, setting the stage for optimal performance in high-intensity workouts. Water retention and muscle appearance. Creatine also causes your muscles to retain water, making them appear fuller and more developed. As your muscles store more creatine, they naturally retain more water to maintain balance. This increased water content makes your muscles look more pumped and visually bigger. Over time, this high water content in muscle cells can put stress on cell membranes and the cytoskeleton, which is perceived as a threat, triggering anabolic signals that lead to actual muscle growth. Long-term benefits. Muscle growth. Even without the initial water retention effect, maximizing creatine stores over a week leads to muscle growth. This growth will reflect in your workouts, allowing you to lift heavier weights and accelerate progressive overload, which is key to muscle development. Bone density. Research indicates that when muscle creatine levels are saturated, bone density can also increase. This benefit is particularly valuable as it reduces the risk of osteoporosis and speeds up recovery from injuries, including quicker recovery from post-workout muscle fatigue. Faster muscle protein synthesis. Creatine speeds up the rate of muscle protein synthesis, allowing for quicker repair of minor muscle damage caused by intense training. Potential side effects and misconceptions. Weight gain. One downside is weight gain, especially during the first week of the loading phase. However, this increase in weight is due to water retention, not fat gain. After the loading phase, Continuing with a daily intake of 5 grams of creatine is sufficient to maintain optimal creatine levels without significant weight fluctuations. Hair loss myth. There's a myth that creatine causes hair loss due to an increase in testosterone levels. However, studies have shown that creatine does not affect testosterone, especially when taken at a daily dose of 5 grams. During the loading phase, some individuals may experience side effects like cramping, nausea, stomach pain, or diarrhea. These side effects could be due to inadequate water intake, a sudden increase in creatine levels, or individual sensitivity. It's crucial to stay well hydrated to reduce the risk of these side effects. Recommended dosage. For most people, a daily intake of 5 grams of creatine is a safer and more recommended approach, with minimal risk of side effects. Some people say you shouldn't eat before bed. But what if what you're eating is protein? In fact, having enough protein while you sleep can be beneficial in many ways. Fascinating recent research has found that consuming sufficient protein before bed can significantly contribute to muscle growth and boost metabolism. When you sleep, your body enters a fasting state, and without enough nutrients, muscle breakdown can outpace muscle synthesis. When this happens, you are in a catabolic state. Consuming protein before bed can counteract this by providing a steady supply of amino acids. In a study published in 2012, researchers found that participants who supplemented with 40 grams of protein before bed had a significantly higher muscle synthesis rate compared to the control group that didn't consume protein. Any protein source will work, whether it's whey protein powder, eggs, milk, or meat. Besides increasing muscle tissue synthesis, researchers also observed an increase in mitochondrial synthesis. The increase in mitochondrial synthesis plays a crucial role in enhancing physical endurance, especially in endurance sports, because more mitochondria mean more power plants in your body. These power plants are responsible for generating energy. Endurance sports like long-distance running, cycling, and swimming heavily rely on aerobic metabolism that occurs within the mitochondria, which means better endurance muscles can sustain prolonged exercise without tiring. Contrary to popular belief, eating protein before bed does not lead to weight gain. Protein has a higher thermic effect of food TEF. Digesting and metabolizing protein requires you to burn more calories, which increases your total energy expenditure TEF. Studies show that participants who consume protein before bed had an increased resting metabolic rate during sleep compared to the control group. Certain amino acids in protein contain tryptophan, which plays a role in the production of sleep-regulating neurotransmitters such as melatonin and serotonin. So, if you have trouble sleeping, it might be worth trying. After the age of 30, you lose about 3% to 5% of your muscle mass every decade. So, aging actually begins with muscle loss. Research indicates that elderly people who consume protein before bed can better maintain muscle mass and muscle strength. Therefore, we can certainly help our parents and grandparents by providing them with some support to slow down the aging process. If you're still struggling with what to eat and how much to eat during your fat loss journey, or if your weight has stalled midway and you're feeling lost, then it's time to introduce carb cycling, a strategy widely used by athletes, bodybuilders, and fitness influencers. So, what exactly is carb cycling? Let's take a look at the explanation provided by Healthline. Carb cycling is a dietary strategy where you alter your carbohydrate intake over a certain period to achieve fat loss while maintaining body function. You can use it to maintain metabolism, lose fat, or break through plateaus. Sometimes you'll have low-carb intake days, known as low-carb days, and sometimes you'll have high-carb intake days, known as high-carb days. How should you arrange low-carb and high-carb days? This is closely related to your training. On your rest days, it's undoubtedly a low-carb day. On your high-intensity training days, such as leg day, you should have a high-carb day. Building on the three-way split training I previously discussed, here's a standard plan for you. 3 low-carb days on rest days, chest day, and back day, and 1 high-carb day on leg day, cycling through 3 low and 1 high. So, what are the benefits of this approach? During fat loss, you're typically in a caloric deficit for several months. Prolonged insufficient intake will eventually lead to a metabolic slowdown. When your metabolism slows to match your current intake, your fat loss stops, leading to a plateau. Muscle synthesis declines, muscle breakdown increases, and your fat loss speed gradually slows to 0. This is a frustrating stage, but don't lose heart. Your solution is here. In carb cycling, the presence of high-carb days can effectively reverse the trend of metabolic slowdown. You can think of each high-carb day as a reset, allowing you to restore and stay competitive. Despite setbacks, you can keep going strong because you mastered the reversal technique. Additionally, sufficient carbs provide better training conditions and athletic performance and supply energy for muscle repair and growth. The prerequisite is that you must consume enough protein. Otherwise, it's like trying to cook without ingredients because muscle synthesis requires sufficient protein. The amino acids in protein, especially leucine, act as the switch for muscle synthesis. You can think of it as the energy drink in a game. Recently, Voice teamed up with Beijing Sport University for a human experiment, recruiting 22 male college students for an 8-week resistance training test. The results showed that FOS fast-growing protein powder with leucine had a significant impact on muscle size and strength. Therefore, even on low-carb days, you can still enjoy the fat loss benefits of a low-carb, high-protein diet. On high-carb days, your muscles get reinforced and grow, and your metabolic power increases. Although the effects are remarkable, this strategy is not for everyone and requires careful attention. So, what should you do? First, you need to precisely calculate your daily intake. You can refer to the template I provided earlier. You must strictly follow your carbohydrate intake at specific times. This is not an easy task. If you truly want to see results, this is the minimum threshold. I even believe that 90% of people don't need to go as far as using carb cycling. Typically, those who do this are preparing for a competition. Bodybuilders have a much greater need for muscle mass than ordinary people because it's their livelihood. For regular people, a balanced diet with a bit of planning, and perhaps a cheat meal now and then, works quite well. However, if you want to lose fat while maintaining or even building muscle, then you are the right candidate for carb cycling. Lower belly fat is a challenge for everyone and is often the last area to lose fat. Today, let's discuss some things that are easily overlooked or misunderstood due to common misconceptions. 1. Abdominal fat cells are larger and more densely packed. Fat cells in different parts of the body vary greatly. Some areas have smaller and looser fat cells that are easier to break down and burn. However, abdominal fat cells are larger and more densely packed, making them harder to tackle. 2. Where does your fat accumulate most easily? The distribution of fat and muscle shape is largely determined by genetics. For most people, genes predispose them to store fat around the belly, except for women with an hourglass figure. Top-tier physiques, like a perfect V-taper or well-defined abs, are also largely a gift from your parents. Some people may reduce body fat significantly and still maintain an H-shaped body. Exercise cannot change your genetic setup. 3. Wishing your belly wouldn't have folds when you sit down. Many people believe that if they have a great physique with six-pack abs, their stomach will always look flat, regardless of the position or amount of food consumed, whether their abs are tensed or relaxed. This is simply impossible. Skin is flexible and functional. It doesn't remain rigid. When you sit down, your abs relax, and your skin naturally forms folds. This is a universal law, not subject to human will. Whether you are a professional bodybuilder or very lean, achieving the perfect visual effect requires specific postures, lighting, and sometimes even dehydration. 4. Misjudging how long it takes to lose belly fat. When you start losing belly fat, it indicates that you've already lost fat from other areas. At this point, your metabolism will naturally slow down, so if you continue eating the same amounts as before, the results will diminish. Even if you strictly follow your diet plan, it may no longer be effective. It's time to recalculate your diet. 5. Poor posture makes you look worse. If you often slouch, causing your chest cavity to compress, your belly will appear larger. If you also have anterior pelvic tilt, not only does this contribute to back pain, but it also makes your belly look bigger. Exercises like hip thrusts and back extensions can help correct this issue, and reducing sitting time can also help. Even though it doesn't directly burn fat, looking better is still a win, right? 4 tips for skinny people to build muscle. Like and follow for more. Step 1. Eating. For skinny individuals looking to build muscle, you don't need a caloric deficit. You need to eat more than you normally do, but that doesn't mean eating recklessly. A 12-week study had 2 groups of people consume 3,600 calories and 3,000 calories daily, respectively. The results showed that both groups gained the same amount of muscle, but the group eating 3,600 calories gained 5 times more fat. So, there's no such thing as dirty bulking, only dirty fat gain. Research shows that a high carbohydrate intake can make you feel more energized and help you recover faster. Your body enters an anabolic state, which is a muscle building state. A diet with 60% carbohydrates results in higher free testosterone and lower cortisol levels compared to a diet with 30% carbohydrates. Cortisol is a stress hormone that encourages the body to store fat and break down muscle. If you don't consume enough carbs, your training intensity and volume will suffer. Adequate carbs ensure the quality of your workouts. Next is protein. It's recommended to consume 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight, which is crucial. Protein is the building material for your muscles. How can you build a house without bricks, right? If your intake is greater or less than your total energy expenditure TD, calculated using a BMR calculator, you create a deficit or surplus. For skinny individuals, the intake should be about TD plus 500 calories. Step 2. Training. Don't stay in your comfort zone and fool yourself. If you want to build muscle, you must progressively overload, constantly increasing the weight. Strength and muscle mass are directly correlated. For example, the heavier the weight you bench press, the larger your muscle size will be. Step 3. Sleep. Muscles grow the fastest during sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, it not only has common negative effects but also slows down your muscle building progress and affects your training performance. Studies show that people who sleep 40 minutes less each day lose a much higher percentage of muscle mass, from 20% to 80%, when trying to lose weight. The participants in the study were allowed to catch up on sleep over the weekend, so don't think you can save yourself by staying up late. Abs are the ultimate goal for fitness enthusiasts, offering a boost in confidence, a sense of tension, and a significant improvement in athletic performance by maintaining core stability. Top athletes might not have the biggest chest muscles, but they can't be strong without well-developed abs, as the abs are a crucial part of the core. So, how do you achieve them? Step 1. Achieve a low body fat percentage. Without a sufficiently low body fat percentage, you'll never see your abs. Even if you have well-developed abdominal muscles, they might remain hidden under a thick layer of fat. So, reducing body fat is essential to making your abs visible. Step 2. Don't believe the myth that abs don't need training. If you want bigger, thicker, and more defined abs, you need to train them specifically, especially with weighted exercises. Like other muscles, abs require a combination of high repetition, low intensity workouts and low repetition, high intensity workouts. Studies show that fast twitch muscle fibers make up 55% to 58% of the abdominal muscles, while slow twitch fibers account for 39% to 42%. Fast twitch fibers are activated during heavy, high-intensity training, while slow twitch fibers come into play during low-intensity, high-volume training. Static exercises like planks don't significantly work the abs because your abs are primarily maintaining stability rather than contracting. Dynamic exercises that involve movement and follow a specific range of motion are much more effective for building abs. Research shows that muscles expend twice as much energy during the eccentric lengthening phase of an exercise compared to static holds, meaning dynamic training places a greater load on the muscles, stimulating maximum growth. If your goal is aesthetic appeal, focus on the rectus abdominis, the six-pack or sometimes eight-pack muscles. 2 types of exercises are sufficient. Crunch-type exercises. These primarily target the upper abs. Examples include sit-ups, crunches, cable crunches, and decline crunches. Leg raise exercises. These mainly target the lower abs. Examples include hanging leg raises, supported leg raises, and lying leg raises. However, if you don't lose the fat, no matter how well you train your abs, they won't be visible. So, fat loss is the ultimate key to revealing your abs.